Running is like your first language. It's primal. It's more primal than walking. It is the most primal thing about us. It's more primal than language. And can you change that? And I don't know if you can change that. I think it's more about life and circumstances and types of training, and in my world now, triathlon, the bike, the swim, all of these things add things that are holding you back as a runner. And my job as a coach is to reach inside of each athlete and shake off all the stuff that is not beautiful running form and leave behind. You know, we all have an extensor cross reflex. We can all put one foot in front of the other. And working with what I get, if I get somebody with a long torso and short legs, making the best runner they can be with that build. And if I get somebody with the long legs and the short torso, just giving them the ability to realize that they need to regain the skills that they had when they were 9 and 10 and 11 years old. You have to work on the person first. You have to acknowledge the reality of who the individual is way before you think about their performance. The ability to have a life that's what you're doing with your life, is you're working at helping people be the best they can be. That's pretty special. So yeah, you make a huge difference. I don't know, I've probably got 2,000-3,000 testimonials of athletes who say, I went out for my regular 90-minute run and I took 3 minutes off it, and all I was concentrating on was putting my chest here, or doing this with my hamstrings, or doing this with my arms, or looking here. All those little things that I've noticed over the years that have formed my toolbox. But it's still an experiential thing. You have to teach people an aha moment. You can't teach them like you teach them a forearm in tennis, or a ground stroke in tennis, or how to throw a javelin. It's not like that at all. It's not even like riding a bicycle or swimming. It's more organic than that.
Bobby McGee is the run educator for USA Triathlon. I knew from the moment that he started speaking that he was one of the most brilliant people that I've ever met.
I don't think there's anyone that knows more about mechanics, especially running mechanics, anywhere in any profession than Bobby.
My experience with Bobby McGee is every time I see him, I want to bring a notebook to write down everything he says. Because if I remember just 2 of the 100 things that he tells me over the course of the time that I see him, I know that I'll make improvements.
Every time an athlete is in front of me, it's the only person on the planet at that period of time. It doesn't matter if they're an amateur or 500th in the world, or they have an opportunity to win an Olympic medal, that something that is not mine, it's like a muse type thing where I'm completely focused on the athlete and I'm completely absorbed. I can spend 2-3 hours working with an athlete and I'm not aware of how time is passing.
I consulted with Bobby with a lot of training techniques, a lot of drills, a lot of strengthening and stuff like that, because it's things that I never did. And like I said, I wish I had met Bobby earlier in my career. I think I probably could have done a lot of things differently.
And one of the things that Bobby and I learned is, I was doing visualization earlier in my career, but I was visualizing me crossing the finish line with my hands up in the air, and oh yeah, I won. And then I'd hit races and it just wouldn't work that way. There's a lot of tough times, there's a lot of pain and things you have to work through, and when you visualize, you have to take that all into account. So I started to do that, and everything started to click.
My Run Transformation course will be appropriate for every level of runner. But if I had to say that there was a specific type of athlete that would benefit most, it would be the athlete that's interested in performance. And it doesn't matter what age they are, and it doesn't matter what level they're at, but it's an athlete who really wants to get better than they currently are. They're not an athlete that wants to go out there every now and again and just have some fun out there. These are athletes that have time goals, they have position goals, they have aspirations to getting better than they currently are. And I've had a lot of elite athletes gain benefit from these principles, but generally speaking, it's designed for athletes that don't have a lot of coaching help and a lot of expert help, and they can get everything that they need from this level of information so that they can transform their own running.
There is so much misinformation, especially right now in the running world, about how to run, how to train, how to be strong, how to put it all together.
The Run Transformation course will be a great benefit to both triathlon and running coaches, and also of multiple levels. A lot of what I do is coach education, and this coach education is not only for high performance coaches, but also for coaches who wish to coach age groupers. And again, as I said with athletes as well, is that the type of coach that will benefit most from this type of program, my Run Transformation course, is the coach that really wants to view the athlete in the long term, not just a single event, but to create athletes that are durable and that perform from season to season, and that have a good, strong background where performance can become a lot more predictable and a lot more, something that they can get to specific races and perform well when they want to perform well.
He was teaching at most of the level 1 and 2 USA Triathlon certification courses. His knowledge of anatomy and physiology and kinesiology, combined with his ability to teach those skills to not only athletes, but teach coaches how to teach those skills to athletes. That was just really exciting for me. And I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it.
The three biggest challenges that I see working with athletes in the 3 decades that I've been coaching have been able to be physically durable, to withstand the type of training that they need to be able to succeed. In other words, have good running form. The second biggest challenge I see is athletes that train ineffectually, either for periods that are too short and too intense, or too long and not intense enough. So an understanding of the balance of what type of training they need to do to be successful, both in the short and the long term. And then the third challenge is for the average athlete to go out there and actually get everything out of themselves in a race. So often you get the age group athlete that shows up at an event for which they've peaked for, and they are dissatisfied with their performance because they let themselves down mentally.
I used to be a horrific runner. Just people would look at me and they would say, "Oh, you used to swim," because it was just so obvious that I didn't know how to run. And as I worked more and more with Bobby, my running mechanics improved. Everything about my running became more like an actual runner.
The Run Transformation course consists of 3 main components. The first component is running mechanics, and it's practically set up so that you are able to analyze your own mechanics and then work on specific drills, and in so doing improve the way that you run and get yourself closer to the way you would be able to run when you were a young individual. So when a runner alters their running biomechanics, with an elite athlete, initially what you're looking for is for them to be able to run at the same speed and utilize less oxygen. So in other words, you want to make them more efficient. All right? But as it turns out, in my experience, whether it's elites or age groupers, when an athlete returns to their best possible mechanics, is they are more durable. And when they're more durable, they're able to do more training. And when they're able to do more training, they perform better. So mechanics aren't a direct route to performance. They're a way to increase an athlete's durability, increase an athlete's efficiency, increase an athlete's speed. And when they accumulate the amount of training that they can accumulate when they have smoother mechanics, then they are able to perform. So it's a critical piece of the puzzle, because 60 to 80% of runners get injured. And it's normally because of incorrect loading or incorrect mechanics.
Well, Bobby's completely transformed my running. I used to run just like a swimmer. I used to have horrific hip drop every time I ran, and it's been increases in strength, increases in running fitness and endurance, and everything is sort of built over the past 8 years to the point where I actually look like a decent runner, a halfway decent runner anyways nowadays. So, and that's all thanks to Bobby.
The second part of the course is run training, and it's an in-depth look at how would you take your circumstances, your time availability, your capability, and turn that into a periodized long-term training plan that has you perform at a level that you are worthy and capable of performing at. When a runner eventually figures out that recipe on how to train, they cannot believe how quickly they improve. In fact, then I have to work with them to mentally accept that they've got that much better, so they're able to be able to race that much better. But what happens when a runner trains effectively is they start to be able to read themselves, and they start to work on something that I call recovery-based training. They don't have a fixed plan that they follow mindlessly. They're able to interact with a coach or a training plan where they are present and cognizant of their own process, and either slow the process down or speed the process up. but it's miraculous, and some people take an entire lifetime to learn it, and they end up being injured and frustrated because they haven't trained correctly. So some athletes need a whole lot more, some athletes need a whole lot less, and some athletes need more base, and some athletes need more quality. And it's the mirror or the lens that you're looking through to determine what kind of training you need. That's what I'm offering.
And the thing about the run transformation is that it's a complete package. It's not like they're saying just do a long run or just do drills. He's taking you through the whole setup, from assessing what type of an athlete you are, finding out how you respond to different types of training, talking about what tests you can do to find out where you are, where you're starting from, and what might be possible for you, and then building everything you need to know on top of that. I mean, it's an amazing resource. Plus you've got the community involved in it as well, so you can give feedback and ask questions as you go along. It's like, you know, it is like having your own personal coach in your living room or in your iPhone all the time.
And the final part of the course is mental skills training. Firstly, identifying the various components that make up a good racing mindset, and then how to practice those components and to master them so that you can race to your potential on the day that you choose to do so. So when a runner figures out their mental skills, when they master that sports psychological process that is required to perform, then they are able to truly access what they're capable of. And they're going to show up on race day, and they have the highest possible likelihood of producing a performance that's in alignment with their physical capability.
A great example of this is my first big win at Ironman 70.3 St. Croix. I actually lost one of my sunglass lenses on the bike, and I crossed the finish line and didn't even realize it. Saw the pictures in the paper the next day. You know, no sunglass lens on the run, no sunglass lens in transition, and I was, you know, so focused, I was so in the zone that it didn't even register in my mind during the race that I was missing a sunglass lens. So I got the nickname the Pirate. But you know, it was just really, I think, a testament to what the work I had done to really you know, stay in the moment, and that's what you need for success in not just triathlon, but I think a lot of areas of life.
My vision for Run Transformation has always been to make available to a larger community what I'm able to do every day with my coaching, and that is to reach into an individual and grab the core of what they are capable of and show it to them and make them capable of accessing what their true potential is.